When Hyundai unveiled the 2023 facelift for the Palisade, I honestly thought that was one of the best looking facelifts I've ever seen. It just became so much more confident, and I really like the design. And it's not like Hyundai are being lazy. This is the 2020 model right here that came out just 2 years ago, and then they decided to facelift it after just 2 years. I think the original Palisade still looks like a very, very modern design. But what they've done now is they've made the Palisade even cooler with a trim level called the XRT. That's what we're going to have a look at in this video. Going to show you the differences from the 2020 model to the 2023 facelift, and then the 2023 facelift, the normal trim compared to the XRT, which is a more rugged trim. I'm also going to make a tiny little change to the XRT in this video to show you what I think would really set that off, that design, and having it be a proper off-road trim for the Palisade. So up here we have the 2020 model. Look at this. It still looks very modern. We have this very organic looking front end of Hyundai. They come a long way since the 2005 Hyundai Santa Fe. And Hyundai and Kia are two brands that have really stepped it up the last decades when it comes to quality, and they're not longer, in my opinion at least, considered these cheap brands as they were when they were first introduced here in the US. But looking at the 2020, as I said, I still think this looks very modern. I love this design that we have, the LED bar that they changed in the facelift in a very interesting way. I'm going to show you that in a second. But they have this LED bar going in here and then kind of hides behind this body panel right here, and then comes back in the same thickness right here. So this looks really cool when it's lit up. It looks like it goes in behind this and then comes back down here in this headlight unit right here. As you know, this is just the daytime running lights up here. This is just for styling, and the headlights are actually these two massive projector lights right there. Looking at what they did in the facelift, I really like what they did here, because it feels like it just got more grown up and more confident in its design. You can see that this all the angles that we have in the grille are now a lot cleaner, and it looks, as I said in my previous video on the facelift of this, I think it looks more American now, because we have a lot of horizontal and vertical lines, actually vertical like this and horizontal like that, and it just looks really cool. It looks sharper than the previous generation. And look at this LED. I also like that in this case, in the first generation from 2020, the LED kind of goes like this. If we sketch it out right here, the LED goes in like this. But in the new generation, in the facelift, it goes down here and then straight down, and then have this little angle here at the bottom to create a nice base for it. But what they did here also is to kind of hammer in the feeling that it sits behind the body panel even more. They added this little window right here. I think that looks so cool. It's like it just peeks out right here, this big LED. It starts at the top and then goes in behind this body panel, and then kind of have a little window to show you that it's still there, and then it comes back in full force down here again in the headlight unit right here. And as you can see, we now have the headlights sitting on the inner side of the LED, while in the previous pre-facelift is set on the outside of the LED. So that's another change you can see in the facelift version. Now looking at the XRT, just have a look at this. This is exactly what I would want to do with my Palisade. If I bought this, I would probably modify it to look like this, because now we have all this chrome right here being blacked out, and I think it looks so much better. As you know, I'm not a huge fan of chrome, not even on a flagship SUV like the Palisade here. I would rather have it look like this, rugged off-road, and give it some sort of purpose with this design. If it is an SUV, it's supposed to sit a little higher, be a more rugged than sedans and other types of cars, and I think this just symbolizes that more with these blacked out panels. And look at the side skirt here, for example. This is a big change as well in the XRT trim level. And for the pricing, I think this is such a great deal. It's not a small SUV, and it starts, the base for the new facelift is started at $35,000 for the front wheel drive base model, and it goes all the way up to $50,000 for, I think, the Calligraphy all-wheel drive model, which is the top of the line. But the XRT, the one I would pick, this one, it sits right in the middle. So you have the front-wheel drive XRT for about $40,000, but add $2,000 and you will get this as all-wheel drive, which I think is a must. Because if you have a car that looks like this, that is capable to go off-road, I kind of think you need to have it be all-wheel drive. However, if we look at the wheels here, I'm going to come back to this after we look at the rear view and just change that a little bit to what I think would suit this trim more. But before we do that, let's quickly have a look at the rear view here. And I think same thing here. It just looks so much better being black. And also I think it works a lot better when you have this high contrast. So you have almost like a pearl design right here. Looks beautiful in pearl white. And that adds a very stark contrast to all these black features that we have. I also like another detail that's changed is that we have the door handles being chrome or silver on the regular trim levels, and then on the XRT they're actually body colored. I think that looks a lot better as well. And one detail that definitely stepped it up in the XRT trim is the rear diffuser that is now all black, as you can see right here, to have the same kind of continuity in the graphics all around the base of the car. In addition, you have roof racks now that are Hyundai in-house specific roof rails or racks up here, and I think that looks pretty good. You can add whatever you want, kayaks or surfboards, or go on adventures, and when you need stuff on the roof, you have those installed already from factory, which I think is really cool. Now, looking at these wheels, I do like these wheels. They look great. I think they look a lot better than these. However, these looks pretty good as well. They kind of suit a more luxurious trim level of the Palisade, for example, the Calligraphy, the top of the line. But in the XRT, which is supposed to be the more rugged off-road trim levels, based on the styling and also based on their marketing photos for this design when it's off-road and going in the dust and the dirt, I think we need to change up the wheels here a little bit. So that's what I did in this in the front view right here. This is what I think a sportier XRT could look like with these wheels. They remind me a little bit about the Ford Explorer ST wheels, but I would like to have something like this. So if we add a little bit more rugged wheels, they don't have to be too big, but just more aggressive wheels, I think this looks so good. I really hope someone is going to make a Palisade like this. Buy the XRT trim level and add these type of wheels on here. Rugged off-road wheels on this trim specific with no chrome and the blacked out trim graphic pieces. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. And since you can have this as an all-wheel drive, this would actually be a pretty capable off-roader. Another thing that I would like to change here, this trim level around it. So you have all the trim that's on the Calligraphies in silver. They are now black on the XRT down here, except for one piece, and that is the trim that goes around the window right here. You see this? This still looks like it is. It's not chrome, but it has this silver finish to it, and I don't really understand why they kept that silver like they have in the Calligraphy model up here as well. I would like to have this in the XRT, just black that out as well. That's probably something, a little touch that I would do, just have some, have that piece, the trim that goes around the window, have that be black, to have a continuity across the entire trim pieces all around the car, and not just keep this as the only thing that's still silver. But overall, I think Hyundai, as I said, are doing a great job designing their cars right now. We also have a facelift of the Venue, which has a similar approach to their design, and the facelift also looks a lot better than the first generation Venue. But if I were to buy this Palisade, I would definitely get it as the $42,000 XRT with all-wheel drive. And I don't think I could help myself than to put some wheels like this, wheels and tires, smaller wheels, fatter tires, more aggressive tires, to really make it look like it is a purposeful Palisade that can actually go off-road and take you wherever you need to go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.